There exists a part of the human mind that operates beyond our conscious awareness, a vast, shadowy realm that shapes our perceptions, beliefs, and behaviors in ways we can neither fully understand nor control. This is the collective unconscious, a concept Carl Jung introduced that reveals the depths of our shared psychological heritage. Jung believed that beneath the surface of individual experience lies a hidden world, a universal reservoir of memories, symbols, and instincts that we all inherit. It is the unseen force that binds humanity together, transcending time, culture, and geography. As Jung once said, the collective unconscious contains the whole spiritual heritage of mankind's evolution, born anew in the brain structure of every individual. To explore the collective unconscious is to confront the truth that we are not isolated beings, driven solely by our personal histories. We are part of something far larger, an intricate web of shared archetypes and primal forces that transcend individual experience. This unseen mind does not wait for our permission. It governs our thoughts, our dreams, and our deepest desires without us even realizing it. It speaks to us through symbols and myths, through the emotions we cannot explain, through the stories that echo across generations. Yet, there is darkness in these depths, parts of ourselves we wish to ignore, reject, or bury. The collective unconscious holds not only the wisdom of the ages, but also the shadow, the aspects of our psyche that we refuse to face. To dive into these depths is to face the terrifying unknown, to come face to face with the parts of ourselves that have been suppressed for too long. It is a journey into the darkness, but also into the profound light that emerges when we dare to confront what lies hidden within. What is the collective unconscious? Unlocking the hidden forces. The collective unconscious is the forgotten dimension of our minds, a deep, invisible network of psychological material that exists beneath the surface of our daily awareness. It is not something we choose, nor can we control it, yet it exerts a profound influence over our thoughts, dreams, and even our actions. Carl Jung, the architect of this concept, described it as the psychic inheritance. We all carry an ancient primordial structure that predates individual experience, he said. The collective unconscious is the portion of the unconscious which is common to mankind as a whole. This unconscious realm does not belong to any single individual. It is a shared pool of universal memories, symbols, and instincts that emerge across time and space. These are not personal memories, but collective imprints, shaped by generations of human experience. They are the archetypes, the primordial patterns that manifest in dreams, myths, and even the deepest aspects of human nature. These archetypes, like the hero, the shadow, and the wise old man, shape how we see ourselves and the world around us. They are the unspoken forces that guide our actions and reactions, pushing us toward growth or dragging us toward destruction, depending on how we choose to face them. But the collective unconscious is not a serene, harmonious place. It is chaotic, primal, and deeply unsettling. In its depths lies the shadow, the unconscious forces that we refuse to acknowledge, our darkest fears, repressed desires, and untapped potential. These forces constantly influence our behavior, often without our conscious awareness. To unlock the true power of the collective unconscious is to confront the full spectrum of human experience, to accept both the light and the dark, and to begin the journey of individuation. The process of becoming whole by integrating these hidden forces within ourselves. Jung's idea of the collective unconscious challenges us to look beyond the illusion of separateness and recognize that we are all connected by something far greater than we can understand. It is a call to explore the shadowy depths of the human psyche, to confront what we fear, and to unlock the raw, unspoken forces that shape us all. The archetypes, universal symbols that shape us all. Archetypes are the hidden forces within us, universal symbols that transcend culture, time, and place, shaping our behaviors, desires, and dreams in ways we cannot even begin to comprehend. Carl Jung believed these primal images and patterns are embedded in the collective unconscious, influencing our lives at the deepest level. As he said, archetypes are the instinctive forms of psychic energy. They are ancient, universal, and ever-present. These are not simply abstract ideas, but powerful psychological forces that guide our instincts, fears, and ambitions. Archetypes appear in our lives as recurring symbols, often dressed in the form of characters or stories. They are the hero, the mother, the shadow, the wise old man, and many others. They are the primal blueprints of human experience, embedded so deeply within the psyche that we cannot escape them. The hero is the part of us that longs for greatness, for adventure, and for meaning. The mother symbolizes nourishment, protection, and the unconscious forces that keep us alive. The shadow represents the aspects of ourselves we fear, suppress, and deny, often emerging in dreams or crises, forcing us to face our deepest, darkest truths. But these archetypes are not just passive images, they are dynamic forces, constantly interacting with our conscious minds. They can drive us to greatness or lead us into darkness. The shadow, for instance, often manifests as destructive emotions or impulses that we ignore until they overwhelm us. The anima and animus represent the opposing gender qualities within us, creating inner tension and imbalance until we confront them. Jung's archetypes ask us to awaken to these forces, to stop running from them, and to embrace the full spectrum of our humanity. These universal symbols are not just reflections of the human experience. They are the blueprint for our soul's evolution. The more we resist them, the more they control us. The more we embrace them, the more we become whole. We must confront these dark, primal forces, for they are the key to unlocking the hidden truths about who we are and what we are meant to become. The shadow, the dark part of the collective psyche. The shadow is the dark, forgotten part of the collective psyche. The hidden force that lurks within every human being, waiting for its moment to emerge. It is not just a personal demon, but a collective one, embedded deep within the unconscious mind of all humanity. As Carl Jung once said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The shadow represents everything we repress, deny, and fear. It is the part of us that we refuse to acknowledge, the aspects of our being that we deem unacceptable or unworthy. And yet, it is not evil or inherently destructive. It is simply the untamed, raw potential of the psyche, unfiltered by the constraints of societal norms and personal self-image. Every human being possesses a shadow, and as much as we attempt to hide from it, the shadow is always there, pushing against the boundaries of our conscious mind. It manifests in our darkest impulses, in our hidden desires, and in the parts of ourselves we shamefully suppress. The more we ignore it, the more it festers, building power and influence in the unseen corners of our psyche. The shadow does not wait to be invited. It will break through, often at the most inconvenient or destructive moments, making us face the very parts of ourselves we fear the most. The power of the shadow lies in its ability to shape our lives in ways we cannot control. It may show up as rage, jealousy, or an overwhelming fear of abandonment. But it is not merely a source of turmoil. It is a call to integrate and transform. When we face the shadow, when we dare to look into the abyss of our unconscious, we discover the raw truths about ourselves. It is through this confrontation, through the acceptance of our darkest aspects, that we can begin to heal, to become whole. In acknowledging our shadow, we cease running from our own darkness. We become liberated. We are no longer defined by what we repress, but by our willingness to face it head-on and integrate it into the light. In embracing our own darkness, we awaken the true power that resides within us all. The anima and animus, the dance between the feminine and masculine. The anima and animus are the hidden counterparts within every individual, the feminine aspect in men and the masculine aspect in women, woven deeply into the fabric of our unconscious minds. These archetypal forces represent the soul's longing for wholeness, for the integration of opposites that exist within us all. Carl Jung, in his exploration of the psyche, described them as the unconscious image of the opposite sex, and they guide our personal growth, relationships, and inner conflicts. Yet beneath the surface of their symbolic beauty lies an emotional intensity that can break us or transform us depending on how we confront them. The anima, the feminine presence in the male psyche, is an elusive force, often manifesting as a series of projections. The ideal woman, the lover, the muse. She is the bridge to the unconscious, leading men into deeper emotional and spiritual realms, yet she is often misunderstood, a figure of both enchantment and chaos. When a man refuses to face his anima, she may manifest as the seductive, destructive energy that pulls him into relationships built on illusions, creating a cycle of emotional confusion and frustration. The animus, the masculine aspect in women, is equally powerful. He represents inner strength, assertiveness, and rationality. Yet when unintegrated, he can become a force of rigidity, aggression, and domination, pushing women into roles they don't understand or long for. The dance between the anima and animus is both beautiful and painful. As Jung said, the relationship between the conscious and unconscious is like a marriage. This inner marriage demands that we accept both forces within ourselves, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how much it challenges our identities. To face the anima and animus is to confront the deepest parts of ourselves, to acknowledge and accept the traits we have long ignored, rejected, or projected onto others. Embracing this dance, this integration of the feminine and masculine energies within, is the key to individuation, the process of becoming whole, the personal and collective unconscious, how they intertwine. The personal unconscious and the collective unconscious are two realms of the mind, both deeply connected, yet operating on different levels of consciousness. The personal unconscious is the private, individualized part of the psyche, a storage vault for repressed memories, unresolved conflicts, and emotional wounds. It is the deep well of all that we have pushed aside, either consciously or unconsciously, the parts of ourselves that we have not yet accepted or understood. Carl Jung once said, "The unconscious is not just a storehouse of forgotten memories, but an active participant in shaping our life." It is in the personal unconscious where we bury traumas, where we hide fears that threaten our sense of identity, where the shadow resides. In contrast, the collective unconscious is a universal force, a deeper layer of the psyche that transcends the individual. It is shared among all of humanity, containing archetypes, myths, and symbols that have been passed down through generations. These universal patterns shape not just our individual lives, but our collective experience as humans. While the personal unconscious is molded by individual experiences, the collective unconscious speaks to the shared history of mankind, an inheritance from our ancestors, the instincts and memories that are encoded in our very psyche. The two unconscious realms are intertwined, constantly influencing one another. The personal unconscious is shaped by the symbols and archetypes of the collective unconscious, which appear in our dreams, thoughts, and behaviors. The archetypes, like the hero, the mother, or the shadow, are present in the collective unconscious, but each individual experiences them through their own personal lens, colored by their unique history and emotional experiences. Jung understood that these two realms must be integrated for true self-awareness. As he said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Only by confronting both the personal and collective unconscious, by facing the repressed fragments of our psyche and acknowledging the universal patterns that shape us, can we truly begin the painful yet transformative process of individuation. To face both the personal and collective shadows is to confront the totality of our existence. Synchronicity, the invisible thread of the collective mind. Synchronicity, according to Carl Jung, is the manifestation of an invisible thread that weaves together the events of our lives in ways that transcend mere coincidence. It is the phenomenon where events in the outer world resonate with our inner psychological state, creating a deep, profound sense of meaning and connection. As Jung himself explained, synchronicity is an acausal connecting principle which makes an event meaningful because it is aligned with the inner state of the observer. The events may appear random, but they are not. They are deeply symbolic, revealing something about our unconscious mind. At its core, synchronicity shatters the illusion of a disconnected, isolated universe. It speaks to the idea that everything is interconnected, that our thoughts, emotions, and experiences ripple out into the world, subtly influencing the events that unfold around us. It is not just about the cosmic alignment of stars or the chance encounters that seem too perfect to be true. It's about understanding that our inner world is reflected in the outer world, and that the two are eternally linked. When synchronicities occur, it feels as though the universe itself is trying to speak to us, guiding us through the labyrinth of life. But there is darkness in synchronicity. To see the invisible thread is to confront the very essence of our unconscious desires and fears. These events are not just pleasant coincidences, they are mirrors to our soul's journey. Synchronicity often occurs at pivotal moments of profound transformation, moments when the psyche is at a crossroads. It brings to the surface what we refuse to see, pulling our deepest truths into the light. In those moments, we can no longer escape the reality of who we are and where we must go. The terrifying beauty of synchronicity is that it forces us to reckon with the unseen forces that govern our lives. It whispers to us that we are never truly alone, that everything has meaning, and that the invisible patterns that tie us to the collective unconscious are guiding us, for better or for worse, toward self-discovery and wholeness. Dreams. The language of the collective unconscious. Dreams are the untamed whispers of the unconscious mind, a direct link to the collective unconscious that binds us all. Carl Jung saw dreams as the psyche's way of communicating hidden truths, a realm where the boundaries of reality blur and where the soul's deepest desires, fears, and wounds come to life. Jung famously said, "The dream is the small hidden door in the innermost and most secret recesses of the soul. It is through this door that we are allowed glimpses into the vast, mysterious world of the unconscious, both personal and collective." Dreams are not simply random fragments of our daily life. They are deeply symbolic, infused with the archetypes and universal patterns that form the foundation of the collective unconscious. Each dream is a message, an invitation from the depths of our being, urging us to confront the aspects of ourselves that we ignore, repress, or deny. These dreams often come in the form of archetypal figures, the wise old man, the shadow, the hero, who guide us through the terrain of our inner world. They hold within them the answers to the questions we dare not ask, showing us paths we cannot see in our waking lives. Yet dreams also hold a darker side. They are not merely about guidance, they also bring forth our darkest fears, those parts of ourselves we long to avoid, the nightmares, the disturbing imagery, the unsettling emotions. These are not meaningless. They are the unconscious mind's way of urging us to integrate what we have cast aside. They reflect our shadow, the unacknowledged parts of ourselves, and demand that we confront the uncomfortable truths of our existence. To ignore our dreams is to remain disconnected from the very forces that shape our lives. But to embrace them is to embark on a journey of deep transformation, where we shed the false self and allow the true, raw essence of who we are to emerge. Dreams are not merely a reflection of our personal unconscious, but a direct link to the universal forces that guide us all. In facing our dreams, we face the collective psyche and, in turn, face ourselves, the power of myths and stories. Collective wisdom passed through generations. Myths and stories are the ancient vessels of the collective unconscious, carrying the wisdom of generations that have come before us. Carl Jung believed that these narratives were not just tales from distant pasts, but rather a mirror of the soul, reflections of the deepest parts of ourselves. Myths are timeless because they speak to universal truths, truths that reside within every human being, regardless of time, culture, or location. They contain the shadows of our fears, the light of our aspirations, and the archetypal patterns that govern our existence. These stories are the living breath of humanity, passed from one generation to the next, etched into the collective psyche. But the power of myths lies in their darkness as much as their light. They are not simple fairy tales with happy endings. They are complex, raw, and often terrifying. Myths speak of tragic heroes, betrayals, and destruction. They explore sacrifice, rebirth, and the battle between the conscious and unconscious. They are the rituals of the soul, forcing us to confront the deepest parts of our psyche, the things we fear, the things we long for, and the things we must overcome. These stories have survived for centuries because they resonate with the unspoken truths of our humanity. They mirror the struggles that we all face, the darkness we must endure, and the transformation we must undergo. As Jung said, the first step in the process of individuation is the integration of the myths and stories are our first teachers in this journey. They show us that we are not alone in our suffering, our joy, or our transformation. These stories, ancient and enduring, offer us a map to the hidden recesses of our own souls. In confronting these archetypal narratives, we uncover our own truths, we face the darkness within, and we awaken to the collective wisdom that has been passed down to us through the ages. To understand the myths is to understand ourselves, to understand the cycle of life, death, and rebirth that defines our existence. Awakening to the collective mind within. To awaken to the collective mind within is to confront the terrifying vastness of our own existence, to realize that we are not isolated, singular beings, but rather threads woven into the very fabric of humanity. It is to recognize that the archetypes, the myths, and the stories that have shaped civilizations are not distant relics of the past, but living, breathing forces that continue to influence us today. As Carl Jung profoundly stated, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But to do so, we must first awaken to the truth that we are not just individuals. We are part of something far greater, something universal and eternal. This awakening is not a gentle process. It is a violent confrontation with the darkness of the unconscious. To become aware of the collective mind within is to face the shadow, those hidden aspects of ourselves and humanity that we have long buried, denied, and forgotten. It is to acknowledge that we carry within us the same primal instincts, the same fears, the same desires as our ancestors. It is to see that the suffering, the joy, and the transformation that we experience are not solely our own, but are part of the inherited consciousness of humankind. But it is also the path to wholeness. When we awaken to the collective mind, we embrace the archetypes that have guided humanity for centuries: the hero, the mother, the wise old man, the trickster, and we integrate their energies into our own being. In this integration, we heal, we grow, and we transform. This is the journey of individuation, not a solitary path, but a journey back to the source, a return to the wisdom and power that exists within us all. To awaken to the collective mind within is to remember that we are all connected, and in embracing this connection, we unlock the deepest mysteries of who we are and who we are meant to become.